and welcome to our #WeConnect webinar series brought to you by Evergreen Park School District 124. I'm thrilled to be here today in honor of sharing information with our community and all of our stakeholders that are involved and dedicated to the connection between home and school. Today's session on our WeConnect, as always, involves a special guest, and our topic is regarding our Student Support Services Department. At this time, I would like to introduce our Director of Student Support Services, Ms. Rebecca Tyrrell.
Thank you, Dr. Woodland. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be back on my second webinar. My name is Rebecca Tyrrell. I'm the Director of Student Support Services. This is my second year as Director of Student Support Services in Evergreen Park, but my 19th year in the district. Just a little reminder about what encompasses student support services. Our department is pretty large. We serve our pre-kindergarten and early childhood population, special education, health services, social emotional learning and PBIS, and also our extended day.
Great. Thank you so much. So as a reminder to the community, we engaged in our strategic planning processes 2 years ago in which we involved a number of stakeholders. And out of that strategic plan, it was really our goal to put action into place within our classrooms. And I'm so excited that Ms. Rebecca Tyrrell has joined our team to encourage everything around student support services. The most important thing that we do in a school district is teach and educate our kids. And her department is in charge of our neediest population. And it is definitely one of the most difficult jobs in a school district to ensure that we're including parents in the process, as well as engaging our teachers in understanding the roles and responsibilities that they have as educators.
So I was very, very excited to start the 2023-2024 school year. Although right now we're knee deep into the school year, I'm already excited about what it's brought. I'd like to say it's a new year, we have new staff, and we have new beginnings. So a couple new staff members joined the department, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. First, we have Miss Megan Lack. This is actually her second year in Evergreen Park as the district case manager. Just a little bit about Miss Lack. This is her 21st year in education. She previously worked in the Chicago Public Schools in LaGrange. She's taught all grade levels, kindergarten through 8th grade, and taught in multiple special education settings. Very happy to have Miss Lack back. She primarily services our South buildings as well as Central Middle School. So a new addition to our department is Miss Allie Wilson. She is another district case manager. This is Miss Wilson's 9th year in special education. She taught 3 years in a therapeutic day school, working with students 3rd through 8th grade. And she also taught at Central Middle School as a special education teacher. So again, it's her first year as district case manager. She primarily services the North schools, Northeast and Northwest, which includes our pre-kindergarten and early childhood population. Very excited. We also have a new addition of Miss Grace Habercorn. So this is the first time that the district has had their very own BCBA, which is a board certified behavior analysis. Miss Habercorn, a little bit about her. First experience working with students with disabilities was during high school, working on some service hours. That's when she decided that she wanted to pursue special education, went to the University of Illinois and received her undergrad in special education. She worked at a residential day school, and that's kind of where she then fell in love with the idea of behaviors and supporting students with emotional and behavioral difficulties. She then began teaching at an elementary building while she worked on her master's degree in applied behavior analysis. Once she obtained her master's degree, she passed her boards, was board certified, and has primarily worked in the clinical setting. as a BCBA. So this is her first year in District 124. She's been a great addition to the district, something that is definitely well needed. She loves to support our staff and teachers on how to navigate some of those challenging behaviors in the school setting. Definitely educating everyone on, behavior as a form of communication, how to support students through a neurodiverse lens, and then implementing more positive supports using like a strength-based solutions.
Great. I think it's super important too, Ms. Tyrrell, to talk about how we came about structuring your department. And so I'm going to speak to our response from our teachers. And one of my observations that I had made regarding the new additions to your department was really being able to not only service our students, but to be able to provide the boots on the ground that our principals need as well as our teachers need in order to support students with disabilities and or students who are in our tiered intervention system. And so what I really enjoy about the structure and makeup of this department now is that we do have people who are experts in the field that are servicing our teachers directly, and then also forming a line between our parents to increase communication. That is also one of our district goals, to ensure that parents are a part of the process.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like adding that new staff has really afforded us more opportunities to collaborate and problem solve at the building level. For students who are having like academic behavior challenges. We did come into this school year with a more proactive approach versus reactive as last year. And I definitely feel like adding that new staff has helped. We're definitely able to prioritize having so many staff members available to kind of support our buildings, prioritize tasks, and make decisions about what's best for kids. Mm-hmm. So, establishing that like organizational flow chart of our department was definitely the first thing that we did.
Great, thank you. And then of course you have Miss Hector, who is an integral part of your department as well.
And last but not least, we have Miss Jean Hector, who has been with the district for 31 years. She started as a paraprofessional actually in the middle school. She's worked in every department in every school within the district, and I definitely would describe her as the department's go-to girl. Mm-hmm. Any questions about our software that we use, our data systems, materials, anything like that, Jean is definitely the first responder to our staff.
That's great. Thank you so much. So I'd like you to just talk briefly about what are the goals of the Student Support Services Department tied to our strategic plan.
Yeah, so we have 3 different areas. And to kind of sum up, I say like new beginnings, realistically, everything that we're working on is tied back to our strategic plan. So, the first area, if I really want to think about like what stands out, is promoting those collaborative practices. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we began last year and we continue to do as a department. And we continue to, work on and analyze and figure out ways to do better. Another area that we're looking at is increasing the continuity of our programming for all of our students and promoting inclusive practices. So some of the things that I'll talk about in a little bit, we'll kind of talk about some of those inclusive practices and like what we're doing to kind of spread the word and do the work. And then lastly, one of the things that is near and dear and we're constantly reevaluating is what supports and services that we can provide to our students to address the social, emotional, and mental well-being of students, families, and even our staff members.
Absolutely. And what really stands out to me here that I feel like is one of our highest priorities, again, is you spoke to collaboration. And what I always find is either one of our district case managers or a behavior specialist, they always have a seat at an IEP table, or they have a seat at a table with a teacher to help them problem solve or really work through a particular situation. And they are a phone call or email away from our parents. And again, the whole driving force behind that structure is to increase communication between home and school and allow for the opportunity for parents to really be partners in this decision-making process.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about our staff and families. I think that, historically we've done a lot of things the same, but we're recognizing that we can do things different, we can be creative, and kind of work together and collaborate to meet the needs of a student. So I think just making sure that we're getting that message out to our staff, we definitely see the difference in like thinking outside of the box to do what's best for kids.
Great, thank you. So what are our new beginnings aligned to our strategic plan?
So some of the new beginnings this year that are aligned to our strategic plan are our special education committee, our revamped district community leadership team, and then something new is we were awarded a school-based health grant through the Illinois Department of Public Health. So I'll talk a little bit more in detail about each of these areas and understanding like how they're aligned to our strategic plan.
Perfect.
So first we'll talk a little bit about our special education committee. So prior to the start of the school year, we came together for 2 long days. Staff members that was composed of all different schools, general education teachers, special education teachers, EL teachers, speech paths, school psychs, administrators. We had a little bit of everybody participating in this action-packed 2 full days. So what we did was we came together and we kind of did a root cause analysis and identified 4 different areas. But we also came up with a vision statement that we really wanted to speak to what the special education committee is. So I'm just going to read it because I'm really proud of it. I think that, it really kind of speaks to the department and what we believe, as well as the district.
Yes.
So the vision is, through support and empowerment, a collaborative team of staff, students, and family members will foster the success of students with disabilities through high-quality special education services. Team members will communicate effectively to ensure consistent implementation of special education services and the least restrictive environment throughout the district. Students with disabilities will be provided the tools to develop as individuals and thrive in all learning environments to make a positive impact on the community.
Yes, and I actually had the opportunity one of the days to be a part of this committee, and it really truly was just a group of highly functioning educators that have put their best work forward to say we want to do better for kids, and I could not be more proud of their actions as well as the department's actions. There's one word in here, Becky, that I think is important for us to define. And can you define for us what does the least restrictive environment mean for a school district in Illinois?
So when we're talking about least restrictive environment, we're talking about providing students with the opportunities with same age grade level peers in the environment that can meet their needs. So when we talk about least restrictive environment and the continuum of services, typically we have our general education classrooms, students with no supports or services. We might have a student in a general education classroom that has a disability but only needs maybe some mild accommodations or modifications. Then we might have a student with a disability that might need some special education services or related services. They still might be in that general education classroom receiving some of those accommodation and modifications. Really the research behind least restrictive is that both general education students and students with disabilities academically and socially grow best in environments together. So having those inclusive opportunities is definitely something that, our special education committee, and I think I could speak as a whole of the district, are working towards.
Yes.
For sure.
And there's a substantial amount of research to support the fact that children with disabilities deserve the opportunity, not only deserve the opportunity, but that they also increase their academic abilities when they're exposed to their gen ed peers.
Exactly.
And so that's really what we're striving for as a district, is providing kids the opportunities that they need and deserve in order to be successful in their academic and social environment.
Right.
Great. Thank you so much. So you want to speak to the subcommittees that were formed?
Yeah, so again, we used a root cause analysis, which included many data points. And as a whole group team, we were able to identify 4 different areas to prioritize. So those areas were academic bridge, behavior, high quality IEPs, and then again, that least restrictive environment. So once we identified those areas, we broke into subcommittees and got to work. So we spent time creating mission and vision statements for each subcommittee, identifying short and long-term goals, action steps, and then the data collection that we would need to complete those steps. So
Awesome.
a little bit about our subcommittees.
Great.
So I just kind of put some of the action steps up there for each subcommittee and kind of wanted to go through some. So academic bridge, we really looked at, we dove deep into our data, which included our state and district assessments and where our students with disabilities were falling compared to same age peers or general ed peers. So again, that's kind of why we created this academic bridge committee and determined like some of the action steps that we needed. So some of the things that we've done or identified is more work for general ed teachers on how to accommodate students with disabilities, more small group instruction and differentiation. Some of the work we were already doing with our high quality tier 1 framework. We just, added some special education instruction and indicators on those learning walks. So a lot of the work, fortunately, was already being done and embedded. We kind of just jumped in and joined in. And I think that that's the important thing to remember, that, special education isn't a separate thing. Like, we are all together. These are all of our students. Special education is a program.
And that our gen ed teachers still play a significant part in that as well.
Exactly. So our behavior subgroup, we are really just looking to kind of streamline some procedures. So obviously with having a BCBA in the district, she's really kind of afforded us some support in this area. So, creating and distributing some standard functional behavior assessments and behavior intervention plans that also includes fidelity. Fortunately, one thing that our BCBA's been doing is be able to provide that on the spot coaching to support students in the general education setting or the special education setting here. She's also, we've been planning and conducting some trainings. So BCBA, Grace has been able to work together with our social workers, making sure that some of their behavior goals for their students with IEPs are aligned to those behavior plans. And then those replacement behaviors are identified so they can work on those during like individual or group social work. We've also have an inclusion series that we are doing during our professional learning communities. This includes neurodiversity training, training on executive functions, what they are, what students that might be struggling with executive functions look like in the classroom and how you can support them, and then doing some behavior basics. Again, looking at behavior as a form of communication.
Yes. And what I really appreciate about Grace specifically and the role of the BCBA is to provide that job embedded coaching to teachers based on the relevant behaviors that were and or are being exhibited by a student in the classroom. So it really gives the classroom teacher practical strategies that they could utilize in, for example, a gen ed environment. And, when I think back to my teaching experience, I would have loved to have a Grace to be able to support me in situations that I maybe not have encountered before, or, experiencing behaviors of a student that, again, behavior is a form of communication. And maybe if I haven't interacted with a behavior of that nature, I just need that coaching and guidance and support in order to be able to improve my practice and support that kid in the moment.
Yeah, definitely providing that coaching and that modeling and that, repetition for the teacher to help that student be successful.
Yes. Okay, high quality IEPs.
Okay, so this subcommittee, we took a deep dive into our existing individualized education program. We created a rubric specifically looking at goals and objectives and kind of re-looked at our IEPs scoring and rating ourselves and determining some strengths and areas of need. We also explored Goal Book Toolkit, which is an online platform to really support teachers in writing high quality IEP goals using grade level standards. This was definitely really eye-opening. It also kind of supports in the area of accommodations and modification and things, and assisting students in that least restrictive environment. So these are some really good things that I think, we're working on, and definitely teachers are, interested in reaching out and seeking district level support on writing high quality IEP goals that are really founded in data.
Absolutely. And I love how you spoke to the fact of a high quality IEP meeting the needs of grade level standards. So when I think about the overlap between our curriculum department and then our student support services department, our curriculum department is really driving grade level standards for all kids. And we've identified priority standards that Dr. Carlson has spoke to in our We Connect series. And then our goal with our IEPs is to have alignment with our IEPs around these priority standards, and that so our gen ed teachers and special ed teachers have this cohesiveness that really creates for department overlap. And so we're really working on that idea that all of our initiatives are really founded together and not being completed in isolation.
Agreed.
Yes. All right. And our last category is regarding our least restrictive environment, which you spoke to. Briefly what that means, if you want to describe those goals.
Yeah. So a little bit about our least restrictive environment. The team has really been working on presenting the information. So they've attended staff meetings at each building and kind of really talked about like least restrictive environment and what that looks like and the research behind it. They're also doing an inclusion survey. We did one at the end of last school year, very tail end of last school year. So we were eager to kind of repeat that, get more participants and see, what staff felt. Then we're also, again, we're doing more collaboration at team meetings in regards to providing accommodations and modifications within the general education classroom and really trying to support teachers to support students.
Yes.
Again, being creative, thinking out of the box, and investigating more technology tools that can be used in the classroom to support students as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So do you want to go ahead and talk about our district community leadership team? I know this has evolved a little bit from last year to this year, but the overall arching goal is to really engage in partnerships with our community, which is obviously a great addition to Evergreen Park schools and understanding where our community can support our kids.
Right. So I like to say revamped and energized. So
yeah, that's great.
So we're still working on the same goal, providing that social emotional support to students and families and creating those community partnerships. This year we've partnered with Dr. Jen Dale from K-12 Systems Change Solutions, and she's really supporting our individual buildings on providing some coaching based on their needs and level of PBIS implementation. So again, each of our buildings, for the most part, need support in different areas, and she's providing individual coaching to the principals and their PBIS teams. We also kind of revamped what the DCLT team looks like in regards to meetings. So we have school-based meetings, and then we have community-based meetings. So at our school-based meetings, we're looking at our individual data, and then kind of discussing like what that data looks like at each building, and then how we're going to leverage our community partnerships to support our students based on that data. That's our goal. We're fortunate to continue our partnership with the Evergreen Park Library, the Center for Self-Actualization. We still have therapists in each building, which has been great. We also partner with the Evergreen Park Barn, and then St. Xavier Birth to 3 program. So we're still making sure that we're collaborating and doing what's best for kids in the community.
That's great. Thank you so much. And then you have some exciting news to share, our school-based health grant. I would love for you've most recently updated the board, or we've updated the board. We intend to do some more specific updates at our December board meeting, but I also thought this was a great opportunity to inform the community of our school-based health grant.
I'm very excited about the school-based health grant and what is to come. So the grant is through the Illinois Department of Human Services. It's some post-COVID relief. We're always looking at ways to increase family engagement while providing the supports that families need. Our DCLT team has been looking at how we can support students. I feel like we're kind of shifting gears, how we can also support students and families. So we are very fortunate to partner with parentguidance.org to combat some of the mental health challenges that our families face. So this partnership is going to include a plethora of resources for families and staff members as needed. So we're going to be offering a mental health series, which is going to touch on some of the most difficult parenting challenges that we see: anxiety, school refusal, bullying, video game addictions. We're also going to be offering parent and staff coaching. So again, what that would look like: families or staff members that are struggling with mental health challenges, they'll have access to that one-on-one individual coaching. That's going to look like, weekly 30-minute calls, 24/7 text capability, and then also some therapy curriculum and resources.
That's wonderful. I think the most exciting thing when I think about this is that, we do a lot with kids in school, but it's really about increasing that partnership again from home to school. And how do we encourage parents to jump onto these resources and provide them the opportunity that they also need to be successful at home? And so I was so happy when we received this grant, and it will be providing those opportunities for our parents to come soon in the very near future.
Yeah, me too. And I definitely feel like, and I've been saying this the past 2 years, we have more and more families and asking us for help. So,
which is great.
It is great. So being able to provide them with resources, especially when, the school day isn't happening, just to have access to mental health providers is going to be such a game changer for our families.
Absolutely. It's a great point. All right. Are there any questions that you would like to address, or any other topics that you would like to talk about? If not, I'm going to maybe ask you a couple of questions, Ms. Tyrrell.
I don't have anything if you want to ask me some questions.
Okay, perfect. So my main question is, you're currently in year 2 of your administrative experience here as Director of Student Support Services. And what I really like about your department too is that you all have different experiences. So your background is in school psychology, and then you have 2 teachers who are working under you, and then you also have a behavior specialist. And so from your perspective, I just want to know, what are you most proud of in terms of your department thus far?
I think what I'm most proud of, which actually speaks to the district as a whole, is just that, I think one of the things that I love about working in Evergreen Park and being in Evergreen Park is the dedication and the commitment to the students and families. And I just feel like, being in this role and having this new staff and just being in this department or this district office, we all have the same goal, and is to do what's best for kids. So coming with different experiences, we can have these difficult conversations and talk about things and brainstorm things, coming from different lenses, but ultimately, we can kind of all get on the same page and do what's best and make those decisions. And I think that just being okay with asking each other for help, or asking for opinions, or asking, for expertise is something that, one of the things that I want to make sure that our staff and the department feels that they can do, because I think that that's crucial in helping be successful.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. And then where do you hope that your department, I know we always talk about there's a ton of work to be done, not just in your department, but the work never ends. It doesn't matter, where you start or where you end. There's always room for continuous improvement. And that's what I believe in. And I know you believe in the same. So when we think about our strategic plan, what are some of the things that you hope will be accomplished within that 3-year time frame?
Well, I think about the work that we've done like last year and then this past year is really kind of establishing some of those procedures. I just really want to build the confidence in my department to kind of support teachers and support students in being successful and reaching grade level standards. And I think that we're getting everybody on the same page and we're diving and looking at the data that we haven't looked at before and kind of talking about best practices. So when I think of 3 years, I really think of this stuff is all going to be second nature, and writing an IEP and, at a grade level standard, and we'll be on to something different, which I can't even imagine.
Oh, that's perfect. And then I think it's important with our community for us to recognize, like if I'm a new parent or if I'm new to the district, or maybe, I'm experiencing some things with my own child, what would be my first steps in seeking support with your department or anyone for that matter? What would you recommend?
I mean, I'd always say go to the teacher first. That's pretty much your first line of defense. They obviously know your student the best. If as you and that teacher see that student every day. But we do have parents call all the time, or even like come to our screenings that, don't have a lot of experience with other students or whatnot. So they have questions, and we love to answer those questions, and we love to talk to parents, and we love to, guide them into the resources that they need, so they feel heard and they feel empowered.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a phone call away. The classroom teacher, of course, knows the student best, but we're always willing to guide and support in the event that additional support is needed.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Tyrrell. I really appreciate your participation today on our #WeConnect series. We are so proud of the work that your department is doing to engage our families and ensure that we're meeting the needs of all kids in the district. One of our goals is really around inclusion this year. And you're going to help me remember our theme for this year, right? We all win when we are all included, correct? Right. Yes. And so that is really our theme, is that we not only want our teachers to feel included, we want our kids to feel included. And of course, we want our parents to feel included in the process.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it is definitely our theme, and we are working towards that every single day. And we are so proud of the work that we've accomplished and the work that we have to continue to do. We recognize that there's a lot on our horizons, but we're both up for the challenge.
Absolutely.
And we're dedicated to the commitment of our community. So thank you so much for joining us today. If there's any other information that you would like from the Student Support Services Department, you can reach out to Ms. Tyrrell directly via email, or you can visit our website, in which we are encouraging our strategic plan and all of the goals that we have aligned to our actions. So thank you so much, Ms. Tyrrell.
Thank you, Dr. Woodland.
And you guys have a great, great day.